Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how do we put out a bunch of ad angles in a very short amount of time. Okay, now here's the thing that a lot of people don't tell you guys is it takes a lot of ads in order to get a couple of successful ones. As a matter of fact, I'm totally transparent here, and I've got my little setup here. I literally shoot 5 to 6 ads every single week. Why? Because the more I put out there, the better my chances of actually having an ad that hits, right? Right now, I've got about 12 ads that have been hitting and successful for the last 3 years, and I haven't had to swap them out. But it took over 200 ads in order to get those 12, right? There's not much difference between you guys sitting in this room right now and me. And there's not a lot of difference between me and all of these people who are spending millions and millions of dollars when it comes to running ads. So what is it that the 1% of people who have success with advertising, what is it that we do different? I will tell you this, it has nothing to do with our budget. It has nothing to do with the buttons that we push, and it has everything to do with the volume. People who have success with ads, they are not afraid to put out a high volume of content, right? Content is just you connecting with your audience. That's it. So many people put so much pressure on these pieces of content. But here's the thing, whenever we're starting out, we don't know what's going to hit. Like, I will tell you this, most of the ads that after I shoot it, I'm like, man, that was so good. This is going to be amazing. Guess what? Those are not the ones that do well. One of my most successful ads right now is the shittiest quality video that I shot on my old iMac right there. That iMac right there is like a 2013 model. It shoots the crappiest Zoom videos. But the ad that has been the most successful for me was shot on that iMac. So you don't have to have all of this fancy equipment. As a matter of fact, most of the time, whenever I use my fancy equipment, those ads actually do the worst. How many of you guys have seen my ads out in the newsfeed? What's the one thing that you guys have noticed? A couple of things, right? One, they definitely grab your attention. I'm definitely the gaudiest at ad creative, right? Bright colors and just kind of all out there. But the second thing that you probably notice is most of my ads look exactly like the picture that you're seeing of me right now on a Zoom call, talking to people and just kind of like sharing what I know. Okay. So I tell you guys this because it is super important that you guys understand that it's not just about me having all of this knowledge on what ads going to perform and what ads aren't going to perform. And that's why when you guys submit ads for me to look at, the first question I'm asking is, have you tested this? And that is why I'm very, very careful to actually give feedback, because without data, I could be telling you something sucks when it could be the best performing ad you've ever had. And so that's why I don't do anything without testing. I'll say this past week, I spoke at an event, Steve Sims, anyone familiar with Steve Sims? If not, you should be familiar. He wrote an awesome book called Blue Fishing. And he put a wonderful event together called the Speakeasy. And there was someone on the stage, which is a bar stool at this event. That's the kind of event that Steve Sims loves to have. He has it in a speakeasy. And the guy on the bar stool is spending about $100,000 every single month on ads. Even though he spends $100,000 a month on ads, you want to know what his starting ad budget is on every single one of his ads? $5 a day. So you can't tell me that there's a difference between people who are spending high amounts of money and people like you and me who are spending $5. There's not much difference other than volume. Okay. Now, you guys know I am literally almost at $3 million in my business, and I've spent just about around $100,000 on ads. So it doesn't take a huge budget, but I want to fail as fast as humanly possible. Okay. Now, that is why I started this call with that, because I want you guys to know it's not about fancy equipment. As a matter of fact, some of you guys may have seen me post this story while I was at Steve Sims' event. He loves to do surprise things, and he took us out on a New Orleans ghost tour, right? Fun fact, my house in New Orleans is in the heart of the French Quarter. And it is by one of the most haunted houses in America, the Laurel Mansion. If you guys have watched American Horror Story Season 3, you know exactly what the Laurel Mansion is. Well, fun fact, my house is right next to that place. And so we were starting over in the front of the French Quarter. And I told Steve, I said, hey, I live in the back of the quarter. Is there any chance that maybe, you know, I could go on the tour where they end on that side of the quarter? And he's like, cool, just the first tour guide is here. Why don't you go ask him where he ends his tour? I went to the first tour guide, top hat, very calm, very, very cool, snazzy looking guy, but you could tell he's a little on the reserve side. And I went and I asked him and I said, hey, where do you end your tour? And he's like, well, where do you want to end the tour? And I was like, well, I live by the Laurel Mansion. He's like, perfect. He's like, that's actually where I end my tour. And I was like, cool. And the other tour guide came in and he was wearing this Jack Sparrow looking costume, right? He definitely got my attention. And he came in, he seemed like he had a really jolly personality. And I looked at my wife and I was like, oh man, maybe we didn't choose the right tour guide, right? And so they split us up. We go with our tour guide. The other group goes with their other tour guide. And we're walking the streets of New Orleans and this guy starts making a connection with me. He's like, so what part of the quarter? You know, he's like, I know you live by the Laurel Mansion, but you know, which street, where are the crossroads and all of that. And he basically asked me like, where do you want me to take your group of people? Come to find out, he was literally an amazing tour guide. He fed off of me, who was also familiar with the New Orleans area, and he delivered amazing stories. He captivated my group, and everyone in the group enjoyed the thing. Okay, now I'm telling you guys this story for a reason. The second group got same stories, same locations, right? So we're like, cool, this tour ended up pretty freaking good. So the next morning we're all having coffee together, and the other group, super, super disappointed, complaining that their group sucked. Okay. We were like, well, what was going on? Like he was dressed the part. He, you know, came in with this banging personality, it seemed, and they were all like, oh no, it seemed like he was high, like he was just all over the place. Like the way that he told the story was just very gruesome, and we just didn't really enjoy it. So I'm telling you guys this before we get into the lesson because I want you guys to understand this. There were two groups that saw the same locations. They heard the same stories. The only difference was the person delivering the information. Two totally different perceptions of good and bad. I'm telling you guys this because writing great ad angles, writing great ad scripts is just half of the battle. If you don't deliver, if you don't captivate your audience, you can get their attention all they want, right? Like the tour guide number 2 got my attention and I was like, hell yeah, like this guy seems fun. If I would have went on that tour, I'd have probably had a horrible experience. So it's not about fancy cameras. It's not about having the best script. It's about how well you know and can connect with your audience. So going into this, I just wanted to let you guys know 2 things. 1, volume, and 2, delivery and connection. And that is what doing great advertising is all about. You have to be able to not only grab your audience's attention, but you have to be able to deliver on what you're presenting to them, okay? So the very first thing, right? I told you guys that there's going to be 5 steps that I take in order to create an unlimited amount of ads, okay? Now, number 5, I'm going to give you guys a very simple AI framework that allows me to just literally type something into ChatGPT and just get unlimited ad hooks in order to write as many ads as I want. Okay, you guys in for that? You guys in for that? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna grab out my handy dandy whiteboard here. Some of you guys have seen this exercise before. We're gonna revisit it. And if you guys have any questions along the way as I am presenting this information, just let me know, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spotlight this for everybody. The very first thing that you have to be able to do is identify your audience's biggest problem, okay? In my case, my audience's biggest problem, for the most part, I'm gonna speak to the audience that comes into Lean on Laurel, just so that we have a very specific problem. Most of the people who come into Lean on Laurel, they sell high ticket, but they have a low budget. That's my core audience's biggest problem. You have to be able to identify this, right? Now, here's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make whenever it comes to creating content. What's the first type of content that most people want to do? Well, most people would want to go how to sell high ticket program using $5 ads, right? But the way that I like to create content, because a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just do a video how to sell high ticket using $5 ads? Because there's a whole bunch of micro problems that I have to help people solve before they can even do this. Most of you guys are creating content that is too big for your audience. A fun fact is, we learned this from the years of market research in television. For those of you guys who don't know, I have a 20-year television background working for CBS. So a lot of my data comes from actually market research. People only retain 10% of what you say in a video on average, 10%. So if I am doing this big old video, how to sell high ticket $5 ads, and I throw all kinds of information at people, they're not going to remember much of anything. And so what we want to do is we want to actually break this problem up into different buckets, okay? So in order to solve this big problem, and I'm going to share my screen here. Now, the fun part is we only have to do this one time, this part right here, okay? Guys, some of you guys are familiar with my 15 pieces of content exercise. The first milestone for getting someone to sell high ticket with a small ad budget, there are 3 different milestones that I have to take people through. Milestone number 1 is having 15 pieces of content that are building an audience. That is my first goal when people come into my program, okay? But it's a milestone. Notice how I have a very measurable milestone. This milestone is the result of the first pillar of my program, power content, right? But notice how I gave it a very measurable result, having 15 pieces of content that are building an audience. That is the very first thing that I have to get my audience to. The second milestone is getting 100 conversations every single week. That is pillar number 2. And then milestone number 3, which I didn't actually write in, is the compound effect of being able to automate the entire process, okay? Now, one of the things that we need to do is we then need to break down what are all of the problems or things that we have to help our prospects do along the way in order to achieve this. For instance, if I want my clients to have 15 pieces of content running and building an audience, well, the first thing I have to do is show them this exercise that I'm showing you guys, right? The other thing is I have to teach them how to do a value bomb. The other thing I have to do is I have to teach them the formula to get people's attention in these videos. I have to teach them how to properly do a CTA. And then I have to show them 2 things that are going to lift where they want to be with this piece of content. So there are 5 things. Now you might have 4 or you might have 3, but you have to be able to identify, like, what is the journey that I have to take people on in order to help them get that first milestone. I get so many people on Power Hour calls and they cannot clearly identify the path that they're taking their clients on. This is something that we have to know at all times. Like, people always ask me, well, Laurel, this doesn't apply to brick and mortar. Hell yes, it does. You have to figure out, 1, why should they visit your restaurant? 2, what is the experience that they have when they're in the restaurant, right? Like, if they don't know why they should visit your restaurant, the first pillar is we need to convince them to even consider our restaurant. Phase 2 is, what is the experience once they get to your restaurant? I'll give you guys a great example. There's this local restaurant here in my community, and every time I see this commercial, I'm like, this is so great because it's hitting every objection. The actual commercial for the restaurant actually has nothing to do with the food at the restaurant. The entire commercial is based upon, hey, you probably see our parking lot super full in the front. Rest assured, once you come into the door, there's 180 seats. Plus, they open the door in the back, there's additional parking. Look at all of this parking. What are they doing? They're hitting an objection that every time someone passes in front of that restaurant, they're like, oh, we can't stop here. They're packed. There was a restaurant in Phoenix that we had to convince them that their pizza was the best in downtown. 1, why were they the best New York pizza in downtown? Well, they freaking flew their water in from New York. They had a parking lot when other pizza parlors in downtown had no parking lot. And so, hell yes, this framework works for brick and mortar. It works for e-commerce. It works, but we have to know and identify what are the hurdles or milestones that we have to take people through inside the journey from them first seeing us to working with us. And what is that experience along the way? But we have to be able to easily identify those things. These are where we're going to get all of the ad angles. And then once we have ad angles, we are able to untap into an unlimited amount of variations on those ad angles. And we'll talk about right now how to get these angles, okay? So being able to identify, what do these milestones look like? 1, for a restaurant, right? Milestone number 1, convincing people to come to our place. Milestone number 2, getting them in the door. Milestone number 3, getting them to come back. So you can see how this could be applied to something as hard as selling a high-ticket coaching program, or as simple as getting someone to step foot inside a restaurant, okay? Because most of you guys, when you're creating ads, you're staying very surface level because you're just so afraid to, like, you want to withhold all of this fascinating information that you think you have. Honestly, guys, there's not one person in the room that has any unique information that's not already out there. I guarantee it. I don't have anything that's unique. I just did an interview with 2 of my favorite colleagues this morning. None of us have anything that's unique. The only thing that's unique is us. We're delivering the content. That's the only thing that's unique. Our information is not unique. That's where a lot of people get afraid. They're like, oh, someone's going to steal my shit. Good. Let someone, like, students come to me all the time and they're like, Laurel, is it okay if I, use your thing and I'll totally give you credit? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I'm not afraid to let people use my framework. Like, if people, and trust me, students do it, they'll try to knock me off and I'm just like, cool, have fun. You don't have my audience. That's the one thing that you can't, right? And so that's what a lot of you guys need to understand, that it's not about like that content. It's about it's the person. They're buying from you, right? So Keisha says, I'm actually going way too deep. They aren't ready for what I'm trying to offer because I'm a mindset coach. Mindset coaches have a really hard time with this exercise, but you have to figure out like what are the tangible things that people are actually wanting as a result, because a lot of mindset coaches use a lot of colorful language that means nothing to a whole bunch of people. And so this exercise is actually going to force you to be able to make tangible milestones, right? A lot of people don't want mindset. They don't buy mindset. They're going to buy the result that's at the end of the mindset. Like, honestly, advertising, I work on more people's mindset than I do on ads. But what would happen if I like promoted my program as a mindset marketing program? Probably wouldn't sell a lot, right? Because it's not tangible. So I have to find the tangible things. But at the end of the day, a lot of what I do is mindset with students. So we have to break these down, right? So for me personally, breaking down my first milestone, 15 pieces of content exercise, right? I got to teach them the value bomb. Now, once we have this, then we have to come up with all kinds of interesting hooks, okay? And I'll give you guys a cheat sheet on how to actually come up with these, but you can see here, the first part is just coming up with what are the milestones, right? Second part is what are all of the small problems I have to do in order to help solve those milestones? Now, first problem I have to help them get over is they don't have content. So what do I show them how to do? How to create content. Second thing is they don't have a value bomb in order to get people to raise their hand and increase their engagement on that content. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all of the different angles that I could take. Each of those little problems are a different angle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out hooks. Instead of it being 15 pieces of content exercise, right? That sounds awful, right? But what if I told you how to create 15 pieces of content in 5 minutes? Becomes a little bit more interesting, right? The second problem I have to solve is a value bomb. People will be like, what the hell is a value bomb? Well, here comes the hook. Work this Google Doc into your lives to attract more leads, right? That's super sexy. So that's the second thing that we have to do. Is we have to create turn the problems into milestones, and then turn the milestones into micro problems, and then turn those micro problems into sexy hooks. And I'm going to give you guys some hook frameworks here in a little bit, but right now I just want to kind of stay overview, and then I'll open it up to some Q&A so that we could actually we'll workshop this out. Carlos, you have a question? Or not? No? Okay.
No, sorry. I misclicked. Sorry.
Okay, that's cool. So what do we do now? Now that we're going to have the hooks, I'm actually going to show you guys the process, okay? So once you write the hooks, we're going to create some variations, okay? And I will give you guys this document underneath the replay. Don't worry, you guys will have this. So let's just say this is my hook that I have, okay? Pulled from my 15 piece of content exercise. This is one of the hooks, okay? The $5 ad that can book at least 5 appointments this week, right? That would be a hook, okay? Now, if I want to pull out another that talks about how to sell people into my coaching program, the $7 offer, check this out. Hook number 1, how to result in time frame without doing the thing you hate. This would be a variation on that one hook. How I enrolled 400 students into my program without paying for ads. Hook number 2, how to vision of Heaven Island. How to enroll clients into your program organically. Hook number 3, why undesired outcome. Why most membership models struggle to fail. Hook number 4, the fastest way to, quote, get rid of undesired outcome, the fastest way to get members into your membership. You see how I'm taking the same, these are all the same video. I'm just changing the hook. Same video, just different variations on the same hook angle. Does everyone understand that? Cool. I see Clara smiling, so I think her light bulb was like, holy crap, this is right. This is how you can get 10 hooks from one piece, right? But check this out. This is how I took it one step further. Everyone knows ChatGPT. And by the way, I am super stupid when it comes to ChatGPT. So if you guys can do this, I mean, if I can do this, you guys can do this. I don't even do the fancy thing. I'll walk you guys through how I literally turned these hooks into an infinite number of things that I could use, okay? I just literally typed into ChatGPT, you are a copywriter who writes some of the best ad hooks in the digital marketing space. You specifically work with consultants who sell high-ticket programs. If I give you an ad hook and a framework, can you write some more alternative hooks for me? It said, absolutely. I said, here's the hook. And I gave it the 5 ads, right, that can book at least 5 appointments this week. The one that I pulled out right here, the $5 ad that can book at least 5 appointments this week. And I said, here's the framework I would like for you to use to create a new hook. And I did this. Well, what ended up happening was I didn't prompt it the correct way, and it gave me a whole bunch of shit that didn't had to do with my $5 ads, but it did give me some pretty cool hooks that I can use later for later videos. And so I was like, okay, cool. Can you please use that same framework, but use this hook as the base of the content? So I prompted it correctly that time. And then check this out. It says, certainly using the framework, how to result in time frame without thing you hate doing, and based it on your original hook, the $5 ad that can book at least 5 appointments this week. Here are some alternative ad hooks. And it literally gave me 8 alternative hooks using the one that I fed it. So now I have, instead of 10 hooks, now I've got 18. And so I was like, that was good. Can you now use the following framework to rewrite my original hook? The framework is the fastest way to get rid of undesired accounts, desired outcomes. So I just went and grabbed the second one. And I just told it that was good. Can you now use the following framework to rewrite my original hook? The framework is the fastest way to get rid of undesired outcome. And it was like the fastest way to eliminate empty calendar slots, a $5 ad strategy for 5 appointments this week. And I said, that's really good. Can you write 10 more hooks based on my original hook and using that framework? And then it gave me 10 more. Guys, I am like ChatGPT stupid, and I was able to output this. Like a lot of people would tell me to go sell these prompts and go do this. But you guys just see, I told it what I wanted it to do. I gave it my own hooks that I've been using for years and had it output all of these hooks. That's the 5-step framework. That's it. Right? And so what I'll do is I'd love to workshop some stuff with you guys, if that's okay. You guys want to workshop some stuff so that you guys can all walk away. But was that cool? Very simple. Did anyone find that to be hard? Other than identifying the problems and stuff like that, which is the hardest part. But once you have that, guys, do you know, how many of you guys have been dragging your feet on doing the 15 pieces of content exercise? Because you're like, oh, that's a lot. But do you see how just doing the exercise one time, that's all you have to do it, is one time, right? It's all it is, one time. But that's literally how I use ChatGPT. Notice I didn't ask it to write something for me to begin with, right? Because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're like, hey, can you write 10 hooks, blah, 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 blah. I wrote the hook. I fed it the thing and then told it to come back with 10 more alternatives. The prompts are only as good as your own brain, because notice I have to tell it the right things for it to output the thing that I need. A lot of people are just going to ChatGPT and they're like, can you write me 10 hooks for ads for coaches who want to do this? And then it's like, eh. But if I can prompt it with my own framework and my own hook, it comes out very different, right? So I'm going to ignore the chat now because I'm just not I can't follow it. But if you guys raise your hand, I would love to workshop some of this stuff. Christine.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. Hi, Laurel. So I would love to workshop. I don't know exactly what that means, but I also have a very basic question.
Yep.
When you say these are all the same hooks for the same ad, I think that's been tripping me up, because I think once I make the new hook, I have to re-record the ad saying that hook at the beginning of the ad.
Correct.
So I do re-record the ad with the different hook.
Yeah. So if we look at, right, our content, the content piece doesn't change. It's just the way that you're bringing in people. So like, I'll tell you guys one of the biggest secrets in all of these YouTube advertisers, right? They sell this 7-figure YouTube advertising script. You know what they have their clients do? Record 5 different hooks and the same content. So they write 5 hooks for their client, tell them to record those, say those 5 things, do the content piece one time, and all they do is they edit the first sentence that
Okay, thank you. All right, perfect. So I'm putting them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So what I'm
Okay.
saying is what I do, like you can do it that way, but I just like write all of these hooks and I just present the content, right? Because I never present content the same way twice, even though it's the same meat and potatoes. I'll deliver it different, like a different kind of have a different spin on it or a different story every time.
Okay, I do too. So thank you. That's helpful
Yeah.
for me.
No, that's a great question, right? And this is why, like you guys ever notice I talk about a lot of the same things in almost every single video. 2 things, right? Video marketing and $5 ads, right? Like if you look at all of my content, it all, like everyone has to do with $5 ads or $2 ads and videos. I talk about the same thing, but this is how I come up with different ways to say the same thing over and over again. Is I'm just going through that framework. And by the way, that 15 pieces of content exercise, that's the same one that I used 4 years ago when I started, and I'm still doing content based off of it. Same thing. Carlos.
Let's see if I can unmute now. I couldn't unmute earlier. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good seeing you again.
Likewise.
So my question is like kind of twofold, like sexiness of the hook and then differentiator.
Yeah.
And just kind of like a quick recap, like I'm a therapeutic trainer for helping golfers to swing pain-free without taking Advils like Skittles,
Yep.
right? So that's kind of like my core offer. And so the thing that I do, one of the bedrocks of my program, my 15 piece of content, is the core, like your core muscles, your core spine, your mobility and all that. And so people are used to or kind of like beat over the core muscles, work your core strength. So how do we can come up with like a sexy way, but not bait and switch people on the hooks, even though the meat and potato, when I take them into my content, it is the core.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is so let's workshop it a little bit, meaning let's just break it down, right? What is the main problem that you're trying to help people solve? You just said it. Golf.
Yes.
Is that the overall thing that your program does?
The end, like the big outcome is for them to have 3 days of golf pain-free.
I love that. 3 days of golf. Pain.
Without the need for medications, or I guess I always pick Advil because most of my people, when they start, that's what they think.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So you've got 3 days of golf pain-free. Here, I'll actually spotlight so you guys can. Okay. So what is the first milestone that you have to achieve with them to get them there?
So the first milestone is to reset their body, joint structures, and etc.
Okay, so remember, we want to quantify that. How do you know that they've reset their body? What is the tangible way to identify that they've done that?
Yeah, so the tangible is they score a level 2 on core stability. On the testing that
level 2 on what?
Core stability testing.
Okay, cool.
Which is one of the assessment they take.
Cool. So what are all of the micro problems or micro steps that you have to go through with them, like the little micro wins, right? The little micro problems that you have to solve in order to get them here.
Yeah, so those are the range of motion.
Okay.
Also, the amount of medication or Advil they're taking.
The
So
amount,
we're trying
does that
to
mean like decrease the amount?
Yeah, like some people come to me with 600 milligrams of Advil, which is crazy.
Okay.
So I track that they drop it down.
Okay. What's another?
And then another one is I work with their golf coach. So the golf deviation that they're working with their golf coach. So
Yeah.
whatever the golf coach is telling me that they're messing
Okay.
up.
And then any other ones?
No, that's the first
Cool. That's
pillar.
awesome.
I
So
call it.
three steps, right? So each of these
Yeah.
are going to be each their own piece of power content.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm assuming the range of motion is the one that you're trying to differentiate right now.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about this. Like, what is the method that gets them their first range of motion?
What is the method?
Yeah, like how do you do it?
Oh, so the way I do it, I have a software that is a postural analysis, and it gives me the exact angles and vectors that they're missing themselves from the normal quote unquote human being. So let's say if you're working on your backswing, sorry, I'm left-handed, so it looks weird. So if you work on your backswing, you should have X amount of degrees on your rotation.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're always going to keep coming over the top.
Okay.
Right. Another one is if people don't shift laterally on the trail leg on their backswing, is because their ribs or their coastal side don't have that deviation. We call it frontal plane, and the software tells me the number that they're off. So that's like metric data that I use.
So there's all kinds of different, see, and this is why it's good to do this, because what did we just figure out? Does anyone want to pinpoint what we just figured out? Is that there's different micro steps under getting range of motion.
Under
What he just talked about can actually be its own piece of power content. So you see how, like, even establishing range of motion, we still have to go deep, right? And so even breaking that down, it's the scan, right? How does the scan work, right? I bet you a lot of golfers don't know that, like, or haven't seen that. Like that would be a great piece of content on how to like how the scan works. So that's the super sexy angle.
You think it's sexy, but I mean, like,
like who can, like, I'm a golfer, like I've never like seen like how range of motion or anything works. Like if you showed me like on a scan and like showed me on a screen, like I've never seen that. I get golf ads all the time. I've never seen anyone do anything like that. And I've had rotator cuff surgery twice.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with my content. Like I technically take 1 week and I spend just on one area, and I call it all things blank, whatever the topic is. And I compare, and I don't know if you know Golf Tech. I don't know if you guys have it down there, but they do like an 8,000 point data point. And I'm like, you don't need 8,000 points data point. You just need 6. It's like freaking golf. Come on. So I kind of use the competitor kind of angle, kind of like, you don't need all this data. You just want to play golf. You want to be pain free. And these are the one things. But to me, it feels almost like too much techno jargon. So it's not sexy.
Not if you're breaking it up into smaller bits. Like what the 1,000 data points, what does your competitor say that they need it to know all those data points for?
Well, the 3 thing is like, it's 8,000. They charge you $250 per session just to, but it doesn't, they don't talk to your coach, to your golf coach. So that's the other angle I use.
But what is the problem that people are trying to solve there with that scan? Or
still the pain that they're dealing with.
The pain where?
Well, it can be the hip or the shoulder. Typically, it's like one of those two.
So let's just do shoulder pain, right? We'll just do shoulder pain because that's what I've had. So
I was gonna say,
what is it that your solution offers that doesn't require these 8,000?
it goes right to the root cause of your shoulder limitation and pain.
Yeah, but what does, like, what is the mechanism that you're using in order to accelerate so they don't have to do that?
The therapeutic training routine that I give people based on their data point that I get from the scan.
And how long is the data? How long is the therapy?
The average is about 3 weeks that I work with them for them to see, like, oh shoot, it's working.
Okay, cool. So how long does it take when they're doing the 8,000 data points and spending $200 on this?
Well, that's all they get. They get the data and that's it. There's no execution. There's the information. Good luck. figure it out. Versus me, I'm
So-
like, I get
right.
it done
Okay, but why are you able to get it done without doing this?
because I'm a freaking physiotherapist. I know my shit.
Well, I mean,
Well,
no,
the difference.
I don't believe you when you say things like that, but like,
Well,
is
no,
it-
but like what I do body work as a physio, they do golf swing as a golf coach. They know how to coach you how to swing. They don't know how to fix your body.
oh, so, okay, so I'm confused. Is this what the golf coach is doing, or is it what your competitors are doing?
Well, is the competitor, what they do, they help you with your golf swing. So the 8,000 points that they're doing in their little machine thingy, they tell you, oh, you have 8,000, you're not putting
But
enough weight on it.
comparing, so you're throwing rocks at golf coaches, not at your competitors of what you actually do.
No, the golf coaches actually, they're a really good network for me because they send me
Okay.
people that are not
Okay.
following.
But you
So
see,
if the-
you see how we're all looking at you because you're not being clear on like that, like where,
Well,
like we've been talking for
there's-
5 minutes and we still haven't figured, like, I'm still confused on who are you,
Okay.
who's doing this?
So let me explain to you. So let's say the Golf Tech, I'm gonna call it Golf Tech. They're just like a company, like a franchise, and all they do is take, video cams and scans of your golf swing,
Right.
right? So they don't care if you're in pain or, I mean, they don't advertise that they fix your pain or anything. They're like, oh, you just need to work on whatever, swing speed, whatever, just regarding to the golf
Oh,
swing.
okay. So here's where the disconnect happened. Are people going to Golf Tech because they're in pain? Or are they just going to improve their golf swing?
They go to Golf Tech thinking that if they fix their swing, their pain will go away.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
The golf coaches, let's say the golf coach at the country club, they're like, hey, Carlos, I have this guy that I keep working on, and every time we're done with a lesson, he's cramping up on his back.
Mhm.
So it's either 4 beers or 6 Advils.
Yep.
So for me, the golf coach is good because he's like, oh, I got a guy that can help you with that. So your lessons with me are worth it. So me and the golf coaches are cool.
So like to make something like sexy, right? Like, hey, most people who are watching this video right now need to improve their golf swing, but give me the next 3 minutes and I'm going to walk you through why most golfers pay $200 for something that will never fix their problem.
Okay.
You see, because like if the 200 thing is as popular as you say you do, just like JT said, people who've already paid that are going to be like, whoa, why should I not need to pay this?
Mhm.
Right? It's going to hook them. And then you can go and write 10 different variations on exactly what I just said.
Okay.
Like, it's all about you have to meet people where they are. Like, if this is a thing that is your main competitor and you're talking like it is, people are going to know the 8,000, the 8,000 data points and the $200, and that's going to bring in the people. And what's important about this too, is you're going to be attracting people who are already spending money in order to try to solve their problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is why I kind of went that route because.
But that's how you make things sexy. But you see how many, but here's the good thing. Yeah, it took us a while to get there, but check this out. He literally probably just in this one thing has probably 20 pieces of content.
Mm-hmm.
20 angles and 10 variations. There's 200 videos in just this.
Yeah.
But that's how deep. Did you guys see like how deep I had to get? Like I forced him to go.
I know
that's a problem that a lot of you guys aren't doing, is you're not meeting your audience where they are. Sometimes you're speaking 2 or 3 steps ahead of where they actually are. JT.
Hey, first time, great to be here. Great to meet you. I would like to ask a little bit more about the various hooks related to the 15 pieces of power content. I totally understand that I can continue to just churn out content. So I get that. What I'm asking is, how are you testing which of those hooks actually worked? And keep in mind, just for
$5
I'm
ads.
in the, oh, okay, so I'm in the 15 pieces of content phase, right? I joined 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh, so super new. So we're just fire hosing you to the face right now.
But yeah, which I love, right? Like I've been studying marketing for 30 years, so we're all good. So yeah, I'm doing my piece of power content per day, and I'm just looking down the road. Hey, what do I do with 10 different, other than just continue to pump out content? And if that's the answer, then that's the answer.
Just go through the program. It's literally like from start to finish, you're going to know exactly what you need to do.
Specifically related to those 10 different ways to open the same video.
Y'all want to answer that? Tell them yes. Everyone here.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love the smile. I love the smile and the nod. Thank you so much for your time.
No, you're in for a treat. There is like nothing that I leave like unturned in this program. Like you're gonna know where to put all of those different pieces of content. Yeah, like Paige says, I'm trying not to overwhelm you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you're very welcome. Miguel and Kara.
Hi, Laurel.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. I love this is one of like I know Dr. Gina is on here. She's in my Lean on Laurel program. She obviously didn't get enough. We had a 3-day marketing blitz where we literally like really tore like into this thing. And this is she'll tell you this is one of my favorite things to teach right here. Like this content.
That's awesome. Well, this has been super helpful so far, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit for kind of our business. It's the hauling and junk removal company.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
we ran a couple ads using our power offer for, I guess this is maybe one of my questions. If we have a couple different avatars that we're kind of trying to target, so to speak, are we doing 15 pieces of content for each of those avatars?
You can. I don't think you need to do that. Probably junk removal probably doesn't have 15, probably doesn't have 3 pillars. There's probably like a restaurant where you have 1 and 2 and 3. There's probably like maybe 6 steps in that process. But what I would do is I would use, so who are your avatars?
So the one that we did a video for, and I think we need to do a couple more, is we call it middle class Mary, like lady who's just too busy, doesn't have somebody to help, or has a truck to get rid of stuff herself. Like she's just overwhelmed and needs something done, and she just is desperate.
I love that you have names for your avatars. That is so refreshing. But yes, so middle class Mary is going to get her own top of funnel power content with probably 2 or 3 different angles. Who's another one?
Caretaker Charlie. That's somebody who's got some like aging parents, and they either aging parents or possibly are dealing with an estate after their death. They need to get, a house cleaned out as soon as possible. Completely overwhelming, very emotional process. For our like value bombs, we made one like 10 tips to declutter for the middle class Mary, and then for Caretaker Charlie, we were thinking maybe we could do something similar, but like more specific to how to help your parent, downsize their home or something like that.
Yeah, and one of a good content piece, because I hear this a lot, like among my friends, and my mom sometimes has this issue. How do you talk your parents into getting rid of stuff?
Yeah,
like, make a great power content video for Caretaker Charlie.
Okay.
But you see, what I love about what Kara and Miguel have done is, do you guys see how much easier it is to create power content when you've named and you've identified the problems, right? Because they all have the same, like the way that I would do this for Kara and Miguel is identify the problem. People need to get rid of junk, right? I would probably put Caretaker Charlie in the first bucket. What was it? Middle-aged Mary in the second bucket. And I would literally just list each of the problems that each of those people have. And that's how I write the hook. So you'd probably have 15 pieces of content total.
Okay, that makes sense. And we have done, I would say, the majority of that process of writing down what are their pain points, like what do they need the most. And I guess that the problem I'm having is how do we make the micro content out of those problems? Like I guess for middle class Mary, like she's embarrassed of her junk, like maybe is, afraid to let people come over to her house for the holidays because there's just so much stuff. She's overwhelmed. Like, how do we make some of those like micro steps, I guess, for her situation?
That was literally so good the way that you just told that story. Like I would literally do, like I would either do one of two things, right? You can tell it from, hey, my name is Kara, I'm assuming it's your husband.
Yeah.
Me and my husband, Miguel, we own a junk removal. And one of the biggest problems, that people face is it's the holiday season, it's coming up. And so many people are so scared, to bring people, but give me 3 minutes and I'm going to walk you through whatever that valuable piece of content is. And then at the end, you could be like, look, if you don't even want to deal with it, we will literally in the next 72 hours come to your house, or 48 hours or however much, right? Like in your case, because it is such a local service-based business, you could either give them a value bomb. It would work equally as well, because probably during the messenger conversation, you'd be like, let us just come and take this off your hands. We'll give you 20% off because it's the holidays or something like that, right? Or you could just make the direct sell, the ask in the actual video.
Yeah. And would you say like, hey, you can give us a call on the number on the screen, or fill out the form below, or if you just want to grab the free decluttering guide, just message us. Like
I would always do one call to action, because people get really like, well, should I do this or should I do this? I would just make it one simple call to action.
Okay.
Now you
You
could
think messenger is
different. You could so I run ads for my neighbor who opened up a storage for RV and boats. And what I did, same ads, except I had 3 different calls to action, because I wanted to see whether they would fill out a form. I wanted to see whether they would call him, and I wanted to see if they would message. And so I split test the CTA. So that's something
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. That's super helpful. Yeah. We can definitely try all that. Thank you, Laurel.
I love that. By the way, like, good job on really identifying who your audience is, because there's so many people who would look at a junk removal service, because I see so many ads, we'll remove your junk, blah, 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 blah. But it's like making that connection with that audience of like, oh, these people get me. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We want our audience to be like, this business gets me.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to be the vanilla ads.
Oh, you guys are going to dominate your area. I love it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Clara.
Hello. My question has to do with the amount of hooks that you're testing. So to make sure I understood correctly, for each piece of content, I could be testing multiple hooks for like a single piece of content to see which one is the winner. Yeah. And in your example, ChatGPT, for example, spit out like 8, right? Yep. When they're giving you that many, are you choosing just whatever, you seem to like, and you're like, you know what, I think 4 of those 8 are worth testing. And then, and related to a question I had asked you before, if let's say I chose 4 out of the 8 hooks that I thought were worth it, I would have my different ad sets where I could set a budget of $1 a day, where I could see like who's the winner out of these hooks.
You could. I wouldn't suggest $5. I always test at $5 a day. $1 a day when I'm testing just doesn't give me enough data fast enough.
Okay.
I don't know. You guys are asking a really great question. Dr. Gina, should I show them what I showed you guys yesterday, the piece by piece on launching day by day, like the day by day playbook?
Yeah.
I showed this to my Lean on Laurel students yesterday, and they were like, I didn't see it like that. And so it gave so much clarity. So here's what to do with like all of those hooks, right? No, and here's the thing, I don't like dynamic ads. I know David just put that he likes dynamic ads. That's fine. I'm not saying don't use dynamic ads. I do not like dynamic ads because it's really, really hard to tell like which is the winning combination. And then you can't scale like with the social proof and all of that stuff. That's the only reason why I don't like dynamic ads. Plus the dynamic ads like relies on Facebook's algorithm to choose the combinations and everything. I just don't like, that's fine. You can do whatever. I just don't like dynamic ads. A lot of my colleagues don't like dynamic ads. So I don't recommend dynamic ads, but you guys are welcome to try dynamic ads for sure. But here's how we do this. So you've got your cold traffic. And so I'll show you guys just the top of funnel, because most of you guys right now are probably having issues with like just getting your top of funnel stuff out there, right? So we know on one side we have power content, right? And then you have your offer ads that go to cold, but then you also have something that I call conversion multipliers, right? So I know everyone tells you that it's super important that you have an offer, right? 1 to 2 sentence offer. I like to save this offer and actually do it middle of funnel. Here's why. So we've got cold traffic going to power content, and then we have traffic going to conversion multipliers. You know, those are those 60-second Reels videos that I was telling you guys about. That's in the Messenger Mastery section. So here's how you do this and how you use your different hooks, okay? So day 1, hook number 1, you write, shoot, and place your power content. Day 1, okay? Day 2, you write, shoot, launch your power content number 2, okay? Once you guys have my book, you guys will have like a diagram of how this is, but day 3, you write, shoot, and launch power content number 3. On day 4, you write, shoot, and launch conversion multiplier. By the way, these are all at $5 a day, okay? On day 5, you write, shoot, and launch your conversion multiplier. On day 6, you write, shoot, and launch your 3rd conversion multiplier, okay? So these are all at $5 a day. Here's what you do for all of the different hooks. By the time day 6 rolls around, what is it time to do? Ooh, I'm going to go and check to see, is power content number 1 hitting KPI? No. Okay. I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to change the hook. I'm going to try to figure out, is it the hook? Is it the hold rate, or is it the 25% view, right? Those are all the things. It's not working. Cool. I'm going to turn it off and then I'm going to analyze the data. Is it the hook that's not working? Is it are not enough people staying for 15 seconds or more? Or is it not hitting the 25% video view? Depending on which of it is, if the hook rate is not 40% or more, I'm going to try the same content, but with a different hook, and I'm going to launch it. Then I'm going to go to this. I'm going to look at the same data. Is this hitting? Cool. This is running. Fine. I'm going to leave this running. Number 3, is it hitting the hook rate? Is it hitting the hold rate? 25%? No. Okay, cool. Which is it? The hook rate, hold rate, or 25% view? Oh, it's a 25% view. Ooh, I'm going to go to one of my other 15 pieces of content, and I'm going to test that piece of content instead. Right? So all of the hook rates and everything, that's all in the training. So if you go into each section, it's in there. Okay. There's even a video that says optimization for each one. Yes.
And when you were saying like on day 7, I'd go back and check my first power content. And if it's not, if the hook rate is the reason my metrics aren't hitting, that's when I would pull in like, okay, I guess I'm going to record that different opening that ChatGPT gave, and I'll test that one.
Yes. So you don't have to redo the content because people didn't even get to the content. It was the hook they didn't get past.
If the first one at $5 a day, because I think I remember 5,000 impressions was also one of the key things. If it hasn't hit 5,000 impressions yet, is that okay? That's what I'm making my decision because only a week has passed.
Yeah, so if it's not hitting the 5,000 impressions, you might want to let it run a little bit. But if it's not hitting the hook rate after 7 days, and it's gotten over 2,000 impressions, which it should with a $5 a day budget, you could go ahead and make some calls.
If it's not hitting the hook rate about 2,000 impressions, I can be like, hey, it's kind of sucking, and try something else. Okay.
Exactly. And so I'm doing the same thing here, right? Now, remember, at the end of the day, these are the metrics that I'm looking for, right? I want people to watch these videos 25% plus of the time, okay? So I am not worried. The value bomb aspect of it, that's a bonus. Okay, the main thing is I want the 25% video views, and I want to get 1,000 of these a week. That's where I want to get to. That's the point that I want to get to, is where I'm getting 1,000 people every single week watching at least 25% or more of this video, of one of these videos. Okay. The whole point of the conversion multipliers is I want 100 messenger conversations a week. That is what I'm aiming for. And I do not, so the flywheel, right? Keep going around day, the day, whatever, day 10, day 11. Is this hitting the hook rate? Is this hitting the hold rate? Is this getting 95% views for $1? Most importantly, is this getting messenger conversations? Now, don't discount the fact that the 95% video views is going to be added to a warm stack too. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going individual every single day, and we're optimizing and reshooting anything that we need to. So that is what we're doing with all of these different hooks. Now, someone brought up a really great point. So are you spending $30 a day? In this case, yes. So where does that fit with if you only have a $500 a month budget? I'm glad you asked. In the first 7 days, you might spend $200 or $300 of your budget, but then you'll know exactly which power content's working, which conversion multiplier is working, and then you could adjust your budget. And then next month, you know, just to allocate your budget to those 2 ads. You get what I'm saying? So that's how we like, so anytime that I have someone, I'm not looking at a daily budget in the beginning. I'm looking at what is the monthly budget. And I always tell my clients, don't freak out, but we're going to spend 70% of your budget in the first week so that we can quickly get winners, so that we know what works and what doesn't. So don't look at like, oh, I only have $500 to spend, and so that's only like, you know, $15 a day. Look at it. How fast can I spend my budget to find the winners so that I can adjust my budget accordingly to what's going on here?
Do you ever, if power content number 1 is hitting KPIs, feel compelled to like try another hook just to see if it will still do even better, or if it's hitting, you don't touch it?
Oh yes, I do that. I try to beat my ads all the time. And that's why I'm consistently doing the 5 or 6, right? I'll give you an example. So my ads for my $7 program, a good, click-through rate would be 8% or more. I don't stop at 8%. I want 16% because it'll cut my ad cost in half. I want 20%. I'm always trying to beat my best ads. And so that's where all these hooks come in. Just because I have an ecosystem that's optimized doesn't mean it can't get better, right? And so a lot of people, they're so busy trying to set up like middle of funnel and all of that. I tell my students to keep doing this flywheel, just these 2 things right here, until we have enough warm traffic to be able to do anything here. A lot of you guys are worried about the warm traffic. You haven't even optimized the top of funnel to get enough traffic to be able to do anything warm, right? I don't move these conversion multipliers, which, by the way, my preference is to run these middle of funnel, but until you're getting enough messenger conversations, we need to keep them here. Now, another thing to keep in mind is these messenger conversations, you're going to get a high level of people who will ghost you. You will get people who will not respond to you. You will get people who are not qualified. That is okay. You need the practice. You still need the practice, because let me ask all of you guys this, okay? What do you think will happen once you have 5,000 people every single month watching your power content videos and you start launching these conversion multipliers to warm? More people will have conversations with you. Less people will ghost you. And as a matter of fact, most people will start DMing you. Instead of them commenting, they'll just start DMing you in Messenger. What do we want to do? Have messenger conversations. Yeah, so David just asked a really great question. What would be considered enough warm traffic? So you have to have 1,000 people in an audience before you can actually do retargeting. But I always tell people, I would probably start moving some of this warm traffic. I would probably start building it. But that's where the next part of the strategy comes in, right? I teach you guys every single week you should be posting content on your business page, right? So let's say you do power content here. Maybe you do like a power offer here, right, on your business page. and then you boost it to this people, right? This is where we can actually start testing some of those offers. Now, this is a strategy for people with a low budget. If you have a higher budget, obviously do the power offer validation up there. But for people who have a low budget, this is where we start bringing in the offers as more middle of funnel. And then a lot of you guys asked me for the hot 7, right? Now, keep in mind, it's 90 days to data, not 90 days to success, right? After 90 days, right? This is what I recommend all of my students do for 90 days. This is it. Power content, conversion multipliers, top of funnel, and boosted posts. Once they have, they'll probably get here after the first 30 days. After 90 days, you are going to have 7 of these posts that are going to be banging. Okay. A lot of people ask me, what's the hot 7? They're literally just the best 7 pieces of content that I boosted over the last 90 days that turned into clients. That is the hot 7 ads retargeting sequence that runs evergreen. You see how I'm adding little pieces to the ecosystem every time, right? Because think about this, and I'm going to bring it home and then we'll workshop a little bit more. What do you think is going to happen when conversion multipliers gets moved to warm and we start running a VSL or a webinar to cold? Every single hole that people can fall in is plugged up. A lot of times people want to launch the VSL webinar first, and then there's this big massive hole where leads go to just die and ignore you, right? But all of the leads are going to get all of this. You think they're going to ignore you? That is why once my clients do this, it's more automated because we've already done all of the work of the ecosystem. Keep in mind, what did you guys notice about the ecosystem? 0 pixel data to lose ever. It's all on platform actions, right?
Laurel, when you test another hook because you want to beat your first hook, are you still running, hook number 1 in parallel to when you're testing hook number 2 to beat it?
I'm never taking something out unless it's a budget issue. I am consistently trying to replace the ones that are working, right? Because let's say I'm paying 75 cents per 25% video view and my new video gets 30 cents. I can get double the 25% views for the same price. So that's what I'm trying to do. Like I had a student in Lean on Laurel. She had a video that had 75 cents and the second one was 30 cents and she needed to conserve budget. I'm like, dude, turn that one off and run a little bit more budget to this. You'll get twice as many people in your warm audience than keeping them both on for a lower cost.
Okay, so then I'll just make my own decisions based on my budget and then, okay.
Just use the flywheel. Like literally every single day, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Day 7, day 8, like do your thing, right? Like do your but until you guys are, go through your first 90 days, this is what your first 90 days should look like. Power content, conversion multipliers, and boosting your warm traffic. The first 30 days are probably power content, conversion multipliers, back and forth. Flywheel looks like this. After 30 days, you probably have enough warm to start adding in some more content here. But until you have 3 pieces of power content delivering 25% video views for less than $1 and 3 conversion multipliers delivering 100 messenger conversations a week, I don't move forward. Think about this. If you had 400 messenger conversations a month, who thinks that they could not get enough clients? When you're having way too many of these, this is when you can kill that and replace the messenger conversations here with a VSL, and then this can move here so that you can plug the hole after people become leads in your VSL. But that is why we want to have as many hooks as possible. Not necessarily new pieces of content, just different hooks.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's see, JT says, so to get our initial warm, we need to set up a 25% audience to all of our content combined as opposed to creating audiences out of each video. You can. I do mine individually, but yeah, you can combine them to get it to an audience faster for sure. Let's see, Keisha, is it Kesha? I forget. I know we've had this conversation before.
Don't worry, it's Keisha. I don't care how you pronounce it though. Just don't put an I in my name.
Okay.
So my question is, because I don't have the tangible, I feel like my content is not sexy enough. I'm a health and fitness mindset coach. So a lot of the hole that I'm trying to fill in the industry is that a lot of people want to work out. They want to, get their fitness. People say, unbig my back, those types of things, but they're not doing anything. And they say it's things because I'm busy, or they have this idea in their head of what fitness should look like. And it doesn't have to be that. You know what I mean? Like, and they feel like if they go for a walk, if it's not outside or if it's not in the gym, then they didn't work out today. But I have burned 500 calories just cleaning my house. And so I'm trying to work in that gap and show people there are different ways that you can still get your fitness in without doing what the traditional
That is
things are.
super that is literally, how many of you guys heard her say that she burns 500 calories cleaning her house? Like, that's sexy. Like literally no more going to the gym, no more counting calories. I will literally show you the method at which I clean my house and burn 500 calories every single time. How I burn 500 calories a day doing things I already need to do. There's so many sexy hooks in that. So many sexy hooks.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, because what I started off with the mindset piece. That obviously that was a
no. It's not about that. You have to like get them to
fail.
Like a great value bomb for you would be, here's the 7-day house cleaning diet, how to burn 1 pound of fat while cleaning your house.
Yes. Okay.
Literally
gotcha.
putting together like a 7-day plan.
Yes. Okay. And I also started doing like dance parties, showing people like I burn 400 calories in 30 minutes just dancing and just jumping around. I can't even dance, y'all. It's literally me just looking crazy. So I'm showing people all these different type of ways of how they can fit there, and then trying to slowly bring in the mindset piece of meditating and mindful eating and all the other things that people think are dumb, but actually really do work.
Yeah. So here's where you bring that, right? There's always that level of, like, if you look at your funnel, right? At the top, that's where you bring them in with the whole, like, here's how I burnt 500 calories while cleaning my house. You get them in with some more middle of funnel content, some long form like case studies, and kind of like, here's what a normal day in the life looks like. Here's how I clean. Here's how I do this. Here's how, like little videos, like, look, every single day, most of us, need to, I don't know, what's the chore that, like, do laundry, right? Most people are only burning X amount of calories doing laundry, but I add this to my laundry routine and it burns twice the amount of calories, right? And so that's that middle of funnel content. The third level of content is where you could start bringing in the meditation, because they've already gotten to know, like, and trust you. So now they're hanging on everything that you say. And so they're more open to listening to that versus trying to do that up here.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So this has been my problem. Trying to get you have reviewed my thing like 3 times and I cannot get it together, and creating.
But I've never heard you say it like the way that you said it.
No.
I've never read it like that. And when you've written,
I've never written it like that, because I thought that it needed to be in a different way. And so trying to find my avatar and my people, I always tried to put, what I actually do and what I thought. And when you said break it down, that's what I started trying to do, and like literally right now.
Yeah. Like, I would literally get off of this call and go shoot a conversion multiplier. And I would literally say something like, who's your target audience?
I normally work with women, and it's so weird because there are women that are like, have like great careers and children, which I don't have that. So it's like so funny that I'm attracting those type of people. Like, lawyers, social workers, those
Yeah.
type of women.
So do something like this, like, you know, most women that I know, they don't have time to go to the gym. They don't have time to meal prep. They don't have time to do this. They don't have time to that. And my clients, they don't have to do any of that. And this is the key to them being able to lose 10, 20, even 30 pounds in a short amount of time by doing house chores. And so that's why I put together this handy dandy, you know, house chore diet. And on average, my clients are burning $500 a day doing things that they already have to do. And I want to give this to you for absolutely free. Just drop me a line below this video. Here's why it works. There's a couple of little switches that I do every time that I'm doing my chores. Most women, when they do laundry, they do XYZ. Here's the one little thing that I add, and you tell them the one little thing you add. That's just one of the things that's on this list so that you can literally burn an additional 35, even 7,000 calories every single week by following this guide. Drop me a line below this video and I'll give it to you free in Messenger.
Oh my God, that was so good. Oh, I love you so much. That was amazing. Okay, thank you so much. That was my question because this has been the bane of my existence trying to figure that out. You just gave me so many ideas to put in ChatGPT to figure this out. Thank you so much.
Yep. So Steve-O just asked a really great question. I understand with the power, the content multiplier, conversion multiplier, we use a CTA, but with the power content, do we add a CTA at the end of the video? Follow the strategy. I'm not fussing, but go watch the video. The script is there. Everything that you guys need is in this program. Just go follow yeah. So yeah, Miguel and Kara just said, you're a beast off the cuff on the spot. Guys, got to remember, I wrote commercials for 20 years. I was behind the camera feeding lines that I wrote to all of these people. So now I get to, so that, like, you know, that's what we do. Like Lean on Laurel is literally this right here, like what we're doing today. Like everyone's like, oh, it's about the ads and stuff. Gina, how many, Dr. Gina, how much do we do ads? Hardly anything in the program at all, because y'all don't, it's not the buttons and it's not the thing. It's like this part that everyone like needs help with. Sienna, great to see you again. I've gotten you for 2 calls in a row. It's awesome.
Hi, good to see you too. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. So I've been sort of realizing, so I do coaching people how to learn how to do liver flushing.
Yep.
Which is like an amazing way to like fully rebuild the filter of your body so you can like heal on all the levels. But I'm realizing that, so when I'm thinking about my framework, I had one idea and I sort of did the 15 pieces of content thing, but I felt like it wasn't quite right. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't like fully go there, because I'm starting to realize that I need to send people away more, because the kind of client I need has to be like ready to like do the work, you know, like pretty serious healing work. And so I'm actually today kind of like looking at a framework 3-part thing, and I'm feeling attracted to this idea of like building my ecosystem so that like by the time they get on a call with me, they like have already checked all these boxes, you know what I mean? And I've been educated in what it is that I do. So
okay. Keep talking. I'm gonna draw something out here, but keep talking.
Yeah, so I'm like, maybe my framework actually looks more like what do I need them to get to be successful with me as a health coach. So it's almost more like, what do I believe true healing is, and like what does it take to, you know, be someone who's up for that. And then like part 2, like why the liver and why is it essential to liver flush. And then part 3, like what makes you succeed long-term at liver flushing. But it's like, instead of breaking down like what I teach of how to do a liver flush in 3 parts, it's almost like I need to get them to like, I need to train them to like end up being ideal clients by the time that they get through my flywheel. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I have to do to get people into this program, right? Because like, think about this, even though this program is $7, if I don't convince people, and we'll talk about this and we'll workshop through this here. If I can't get people to believe 2 things, 1, they can do their own ads, or 2, they can spend $5 a day on ads, or 3, they don't need an agency, which I guess kind of is like number one. But you see how there's like two very strong beliefs that I have to shift before people will even consider this program. Because if no matter, it's $7 a month, but if I can't convince them that that ads don't have to cost a fortune or that they can do their own ads, they're not going to buy, no matter how cheap it is, right? So for you, Sienna, what are the like, so think about like how broad is top of broad, like that you are willing to go, like what do people have to at least know at the very top that'll like, so here is the gate between not ideal and somewhat ideal, but that we can turn these into ideal clients here. So what is the cusp that you're willing to go?
True healing, you can't just take a pill for.
Like, what is it? Like, what is it like, what does that mean?
Like, just the way of going to the doctor. I mean, really, like, people are constantly like, well, what can I take to clean up my liver, you know? And I'm like, it really isn't something that you can just take, you know, once a day.
So how deep do you want to go with these people? Like, because like, you have to think like there's always going to be a certain type of person who's not going to buy into the whole detox thing, right? So we always want to keep those out of our funnel, right? These are those people. So what's the first level of content awareness that we want to go with these people? Like, are they looking for a natural solution to, I wouldn't say necessarily liver cleansing, but like, what are some of the symptoms that are actually popping up because of their liver?
Yeah, like for example, we all go to doctors and they tell us that nothing's wrong with us, but we have like a bunch of symptoms. So usually it's like you have symptoms, they're not getting better, you've tried things, doctors are not helpful.
What specifically?
Chronic fatigue, autoimmune, gut issues, like waking up feeling hungover, feeling really stuck in your life. You know,
so they're waking up like give me a real example. Like think back to like one of your most ideal people that you've ever worked with. How did they wake up, or what was their day like?
Feeling really sluggish, low energy, having food cravings, kind of going throughout the day like they don't really know what they should be taking. It's like they may have a bunch of supplements, they may think they need to eat a certain way, but they just basically feel low energy. They're having maybe pain, maybe headaches, they're feeling irritable, maybe not resting, like not feeling that rested when they wake up.
Okay. So those are some of the angles that I would do. Like I would take that they're trying to take supplements in order to fix like low energy, or you know, or what else are they doing? They're
doing like cleanses. They're probably seeing like functional medicine doctors that cost tons of money and make you buy 1 billion supplements. And the thing is, they're not getting better. They're like, they're spending money, and they try diets. You know, they try different kinds of therapeutic diets, and it just usually not only are they not getting better, but like symptoms kind of like add on over time.
Yep. So that's how I would say. So that's like, so I would make a kind of a diagram like this, and I would be like, look, these are people who are taking supplements because they have low energy. They're trying cleanses, they're trying diets, but I would also try to work in language, because you don't want to get the ideal people who buy into Western medicine and will not be open to what you're doing. And so that's kind of the messaging that you would take here. So once they're watching 25% or more of this content, right? You've kind of got them in. What is the next part of education that you want these people, now that they've watched one of your pieces of content? What is the next thing that you can start kind of sprinkling in and trying to get them to, okay, a total buy-in to a liver cleanse?
Yeah, I feel like I've been focusing on, and at some point I need to cover like what is an actual liver flush. Right, maybe that's lower, because I feel like the next part.
I don't think you start really talking about it until here. And
Okay.
just what would be the in-between
The
content?
in between is like that healing is like, I really real healing is a choice that not everyone needs to or is going to take.
So let's make that even simpler. You start talking that their liver
Yeah.
is the issue to all of the things that they're trying.
Yeah.
So this is where you make them realize it's their liver. And then here is where you give them the content that it's the liver flush that they need. You see how we started from, these are the symptoms. Oh, this is the problem. Here's how to solve that problem.
Okay, well, I can talk about that middle one like for days and days and days. But
So
where
this is what- yeah, so this is what
where do I get in the part where like they actually need to be like up for the challenge of it, like in a sustained way?
here. So this is how, so like if we were building out your ecosystem, right? This is your power content. Here. Right here would be your middle of funnel conversion multipliers. Right? That you're giving them the education on that it's actually their liver. And so you might like give them like a little diet to like a little thing to just kind of like a 3-day cleanse to kind of just warm them up, or maybe it's a fat or something. I don't know enough about your business. And then here would be your hot 7 educational content. So if we were bringing them through the whole, like the thing that I just walked you guys through, that's how I would do this. So it would be power content into middle of funnel content, which could be the conversion multipliers and more power content that talk about why the liver's the issue. And you start feeding them the little guide on, you know, the liver cleanse or whatever. And then once they believe that it's their liver that's the issue, then you just run these ads that literally just go back to the entire thing of what you're trying to sell them.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Sometimes it's just doing it a little bit different way, like drawing it out a little bit different.
Yeah, that helps me.
Yeah. Because there are some beliefs sometimes that we do have to shift with people in order to get them ready to, because just because someone doesn't necessarily believe it at that moment doesn't mean that they're not an ideal client.
Right. And maybe I shouldn't like cut them out quite as early. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Christine said, do you set up the 3 milestones for each level in the funnel? Do you want the value bomb to match the level you're at in the funnel? So here I'm using the value bomb as a way to bridge the gap. Right? To kind of introduce them to this through a conversation, right? So the reason that I do this here is because think about this. There are 2 reasons that people won't buy from you. 1, they don't believe it works. And 2, they won't believe it works for them. All of our content is really great at convincing people that it works, right? You've got case studies and testimonials, but how do we convince people that it will work for them? We have a messenger conversation that tells them it will work for them because of XYZ and being able to diagnose that problem in Messenger.
And in my case right there, right where you're pointing, I have a quiz. I have a free quiz that basically will illuminate it, like to certain symptoms that are actually signs of hidden liver issues.
So perfect. That could be your value bomb for your conversion multiplier.
Yeah, sweet.
Yep. Yeah. So her funnel power content, then middle of funnel conversion multipliers and power content. Introduce them to that quiz. Everyone who opts in for the quiz gets retargeted with your hot 7 content. Boom. Now we've naturally just brought people down. You guys we did a lot. We set out to talk about hooks, but we kind of went in a different, but I think now you guys understand why we need so many hooks, right? Because if she says, let's say like, people taking supplements, that might mean something very different than if she uses another hook to say the same thing. Hey, do you wake up every morning with low energy? Are you taking supplements in order to get through till, you know, do you pop a supplement at 3 o'clock just to get through your workday? Might be a different hook than are you waking up every morning with zero energy? Two different hooks to present the same amount of content. Cool. I think for real, it's wine time now. I think I earned my glass. Did I earn my glass of wine today? Yes. Awesome. Cool. I will have the replay. I did post the sheet in case you guys wanted it that I was using here in the chat. But I will also post it in the replay. But yeah, I had fun with you guys today. And if you guys haven't gotten in on my Black Friday offer, it's 5 days of literally doing what we just did for $47. So it's going to be very, very fun. On Black Friday, we've already almost sold them all out. My wife messaged me a while ago, like we literally just did it last night, and I'll drive this home for you guys right now, right? The ecosystem that I've been showing you guys, like just because I've consistently ran it for the last 4 years, I was able to sell out my Phoenix event with a single Facebook post. And I'm going to sell out my Black Friday with a single Facebook post. Guarantee it. By the end of today, it's going to be sold out.
Laurel.
And notice I didn't run an ad for either of those, right? I made a Facebook post.
I haven't seen that offer.
So
And
it's
let me just tell you, like you just sold one, so I need the offer, please.
Yeah, so I'll put it in.
It's not fair, Laura. You've got such a following that you could say anything and it'll go out to all of those.
But why? Why do I have a following? Because I do exactly what I taught you guys today. And that's the point I want to drive home, is it is fair because I did the work. I was consistent. I didn't stop after 30 days. I didn't stop after 90 days, right? Like people will be like, oh, you're lucky. No, I did all of this while I worked not even a 9 to 5, like in TV hours, you work totally different hours, but I worked a full-time job for 9 months doing exactly what I'm showing you guys, but I did all organically, much more work, right? There's nothing that makes me special, guys. I'm just like you.
That's not true.
No, there is. I am an everyday person that literally just uses social media to get clients for a skill that I've developed over 20 years in television. I'm not special. All of you guys have the same capabilities as I do, right? When a lot of people are like, oh, Laurel, you're so good. Yeah, I practiced for 20 years. I didn't just wake up and be like, oh, I'm going to be good at copywriting. No, like seriously, guys, like this, like, you know, and I'm being serious. Like, this is the piece that you guys have to learn. You know, a lot of people have been avoiding video for so long. Going into 2024, 2025, the opportunity is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Like this is the part that you have. If you want a digital business, even if you want a brick and mortar business, everyone has to learn this, because this is where everything's going right now. $47, Richard. No. But no, I hope you guys had fun today. I always have fun teaching this stuff, and that's truly the magic, guys, is you have to love it and get up and do it every single day and love whatever you're doing. Don't do it for the money. Once you start doing it for the money, it doesn't work. I've seen it so many times. People just, you know. So you guys have an amazing day. Love every single one of you guys. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the Ask Laurel thread before 5 o'clock today, and I'll get you guys taken care of. Love you guys right back.